Thank you. And with that, we bring in cybersecurity attorney Leeza Garber. Leeza, welcome. In Hillary's piece, we heard from New York Congresswoman Republican Claudia Tenney saying we need to advance national security. We're concerned about national security. How do you advance those concerns? Is it an outright ban, even though that is not likely?
There are multiple security concerns with TikTok, and to contextualize it, the U.S. government has been negotiating with TikTok and investigating its security practices for over 2 years. So there is some frustration with how long this process has taken. There are concerns with where the data is stored, who has access to it, what kind of security protocols are there. And while TikTok has claimed that the American version of the app stores all of its data in the U.S. and Singapore, and that Chinese nationals do not have access to it, there are conflicting reports about who actually is able to see it. And under Chinese law, state officials do have the right to access the data. So there's some conflict there, but there is a process by which the U.S. could attempt to ban the app through legal channels, going beyond just having government employees not use the app on their government dedicated devices. But it's complicated. We have over 100 million Americans using the app. There'd probably be quite a bit of pushback. And then also the actual logistics of banning the app. Sure, you can have app stores on Google and Apple stop downloads, but then you have users that already have it on their phones.
So should the Department of Justice regulate it?
Well, it would be great to have better regulation in terms of citizens' privacy in this country. There have been discussions of having a federal nationwide bill on consumer privacy. We still just have it at the state level. But when we're talking about an app that's based in China, which is collecting billions of data points on American citizens every day, and then we don't know exactly what they're doing with that data and how they could manipulate it in terms of influence and content moderation, regulation could look like a ban, but it could also look like a better negotiation process with the app so that we have better insight into their security practices.
We have Kansas now joining 19 other states, so essentially almost half the country banning TikTok on state devices. I don't know where we go from here. Yes, states can do what they want. It's just their state, their local government devices. But where do you go from here?
It's tricky. And as you said, even having about 19 states ban it on their state issued devices it's mostly a symbolic gesture, because as you mentioned, we have millions of teenagers that use it every day that might be saying, well, my data is already out there. So what's the serious problem here? But really, we have to be concerned with how the data is being secured and who has their eyes on it. And that's something we should be concerned with in this country for American-based apps as well.
What do we know that China has done with any data that they've assessed from the U.S.? Do we know what they have or what they've done with it?
Much of this is based on allegations, but what we do know is that we've heard reporters say and journalists that their data has been accessed so that the Chinese government can see what their sources are on TikTok. And there have been some other conflicting reports like that. And again, TikTok has said we're having all the servers managed in the United States and Singapore as well. We can have a third party come in and moderate and make sure everything's done by U.S. standards, but that might not be enough. And again, the negotiations with the U.S. government and TikTok have been going on for 2 years.
Yeah, I know. And we're still we've advanced a little bit, but it feels like we're stuck in the same place for the most part. Leeza, thank you.
Thank you.
And coming up, the biggest risk